Good morning and welcome to White Deer Unitarian Universalist Church. We are delighted to have you here, both in this space and those attending virtually. It's good to be together, a community of youth, adults, and children sharing the values of courage, reverence, and compassion. I'm Jenna Borgmeyer, and my pronouns are she, her, and I'm a member of our board of directors. If you have a joy or sorrow you would like to share in the meditation, please add it to our meditation bowl or in the chat box before the opening hymn. Please make sure to gain consent before you put someone's full name in the bowl. We will not be having our usual in-person or cyber social hour this Sunday. Instead, those of you that are in person are warmly invited to join us for a potluck immediately following the service. And the White Bear Big Band will be providing some lively music for us to celebrate this upcoming church year. We invite all of you who are willing and able to bring a church chair back across the street after the service. Many hands will help that happen, so we're quickly ready for the potluck. Beginning on September 14th, we are rebooting Supper and Soul Work. Yay! Those evenings of fellowship and food provide all ages with a chance to share a meal, participate in various activities and or special programming, and most importantly, be together. Meals will either be potluck or prepared by a cook team. This Wednesday's 5:30 meal will be prepared by a cook team, followed by a special program in the social hall from 6:30 to 8, A History of Voting Rights, 1776 to 2020, presented by our area's League of Women Voters chapter. Drop-in nursery care is available for ages 6 months to 4 years. Let us know if you plan to attend. See the e-news for the RSVP link. There was an error in Wednesday's e-news about this event. There is no choir rehearsal this evening. Can WBUUC pay for 50 additional solar collectors on the roof with revenue from members voluntarily buying carbon offsets at the rate of 5 cents per pound of carbon emitted through vacation or leisure travel by car, plane, or boat? To find out how feasible this is, WBUUC's Board of Directors requests that members of our community respond to a survey. See the e-news for more details. We'll now have a special announcement from our religious education staff.
Good morning. My name is Amy and my pronouns are she, her. At WBUUC, we say we grow our souls and serve the world in love. And we understand that this is a lifelong journey held in community, and we engage in this work in the sanctuary, in the social hall, on Zoom, and even in parks, wherever it is that we are gathered. This work also happens in the classrooms where our children, youth, and adults also meet in small groups. In these circles, we worship, we listen, we share, we play, we connect, and figure out how to do the work of covenanted community. Each year, dozens of you help to hold this ministry as facilitators for these circles, serving as guides, holding space for the magic of this work to happen. For our children, youth, and families, these circles also provide a unique and important opportunity for multi-generational connections. For children, youth to get to meet real, live adult UUs who are engaged in the same work of growing and serving. Church is one of the few places in our society where we gather intentionally multi-generational communities, and where families with children can widen their circles of support. So it might surprise you to know that historically, the majority of the facilitators for our circles for children and youth are parents of children and youth currently enrolled in our programs. This is such a missed opportunity to help support our children, youth, and families. Facilitators for these circles do not have to be theologians or experts in UU history. All you need to be is willing and present to go on a journey alongside our children and youth. Session plans, training supplies, and facilitation partners are provided. And not only will you help expand the network of support for our families, but facilitating these circles is also really fun and a deeply rewarding way to deepen your own understanding of our faith in our community. And so my invitation to all of you is to take a few moments today during the potluck to stop by our classrooms to just get a little taste of what it is we do in these circles and see if serving as a circle facilitator is something that speaks to you. You can pick up a passport and stop by each room to explore each of the rituals and practices that anchor our time in our circles together. Nico and I will be available to answer your questions. We hope you'll come, grow, and serve along with us.
Come in. Come into this place which we make holy by our presence. Come in with all your vulnerabilities and strengths, fears and anxieties, loves and hopes. For here you need not hide, nor pretend, nor be anything other than who you are and who you are called to be. Come into this place where we can touch and be touched, heal and be healed, forgive and be forgiven. Come into this place where the ordinary is sanctified, the human is celebrated, the compassionate is expected. Come into this place. Together we make it a holy place. I'm Reverend Jack, and I use the pronouns he, him.
I'm Reverend Sarah Goodman. I use the pronouns she, her. I'll be lighting the chalice today. Back in high school, I used to go body surfing with my dad. The Pacific Ocean can be cold, even in the late summer, but I never had a wetsuit, just my trusty one piece and fins. Swimming hard, diving beneath the wave after wave, it would be a push to get past the breakers. So once that I got out there to the calm spot past the breaks, I'd need to take a break. In that first push, my focus would be out to sea, the water, underwater, breathing, pushing, moving forward. Once I got out there, I'd turn around to face the shore, to face where I came from. My dad and I would bob side by side, looking at where the shore met the buildings, and I felt awe at the enormous thunderhead clouds rising up from behind the mountains in the distance, and the enormous ocean surrounding me, lifting me up, holding me up. More than 20 years have passed since then, and my heart still belongs to the ocean. I've aged and changed, moved to another ocean, then away from the ocean altogether. And now rivers and lakes are slowly creeping into my heart too. We light this chalice for the blessing of water and the passage of time. I invite you now to join me in our opening words. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Our hymn this morning is The River, and the lyrics are in your order of service.
You will have a chance to hear the song over the speakers, and the choir will sing as you sing along. And rise in body or spirit as you are so moved.
In the river, the river is a healer. The river is a saint. The river knows no end. The river feels no day. The river is a leader every single day. It's living in the moment and it always finds a way. Water heal my body, water heal my soul. When I go down to the water, by the water I feel whole. The river calls me over, it's calling out my name. In the day and in the night, I hear that river all the same. It's calling me over, calling out my pain. Oh, a river gathers tears just like a river gathers rain. Water heal my body, water heal my soul. When I go down to the water, by the water, I feel home. The river is a traveler, always on the go. Oh, a river never worries if it's fast or if it's slow. River, take me to where I need to go. Oh, and I will just relax and let the river flow. Water heal my body, heal my body, heal my soul. When I go down to the water, I feel water heal my body, water heal my soul. When I go down to the water, I feel water heal my body, water heal my soul. When I go down to the water, I feel home.
I'm Miko, and my pronouns are they, them. This morning's story, like so many of the stories we share at church, is calling us to do something, to change the way we think about and interact with the world around us. So as you take in the story today, and as you participate in water communion and sing today's hymns, enjoy the potluck, and go to the community spiritual growth open house in the RE wing after service, and go about the rest of your Sunday afternoon, I hope you'll pay attention for that call. Today's story is adapted from The Water Bearer's Garden by Betsy Hill Williams from You and Me Collective Stories. A water bearer in India had two large pots, each hung on one end of a pole that he carried across his head. Each day he would travel to the stream to fill both pots with water
and then return home. But one of the pots had a crack in it, so at the end of the long walk from the stream to the house, it arrived only half full, while the other pot always delivered a full portion of water. For 2 years, this went on daily, with the water bearer delivering only 1.5 pots full of water to his house. Of course, the whole pot was proud of its accomplishment, perfect to the end for which it was made. But the poor cracked pot was ashamed of its own imperfection and miserable that it was able to accomplish only half of what it had been made to do. After 2 years of what it perceived to be bitter failure, it spoke to the water bearer one day by the stream. "I am ashamed of myself, and I want to apologize to you." "Why?" asked the bearer. "What are you ashamed of?" "I have been able for these past 2 years to deliver only half my load because this crack in my side causes water to leak out all the way back to your house. Because of this crack in my side, you have to do all this work, and you don't get full value from your efforts," the pot said. The water bearer felt sorry for the cracked pot, and in his compassion, he said, "As we return to the house, I want you to notice the beautiful flowers along the path." Indeed, as they went up the hill, the old cracked pot took notice of the sun warming the beautiful wildflowers on the side of the path, and this cheered it some. But at the end of the trail, it still felt sad because it had leaked out half its load, and so again, the pot apologized to the bearer for its failure. The bearer said to the pot, "Did you notice that there were flowers only on your side of the path, but not on the other pot side? That's because I have always known about the crack in your side. I have always known that as we travel back to the house together, one pot carries water and the other drips some out. And so I planted flower seeds on your side of the path, and every day while we walk back from the stream, you've watered them. For 2 years, I have been able to pick beautiful flowers to decorate the table. Without you being just the way you are, that beauty would not grace the house. So next time we journey from the stream to the house, may you notice that your journey, though it is along the exact same path as mine, is unique. May you notice that you, too, are the cause of beauty."
Please join me for a moment of meditation or prayer. Spirit of life, Spirit of love, Spirit of mystery and wonder, we're gathered together today, a community longing for connection and depth, meaning and joy. We take time out of our increasingly busying schedules to pause and to wonder. We can hear the birds around us, joyful sounds of children, the buzzing of late summer. We can feel the breeze and the sunshine on our faces. For a moment, let's pause in the beauty of this moment. We come together, all of us, the specific combination of joys and sorrows. We celebrate together and we mourn together. We mark tragedies and we celebrate annual traditions. This morning, we hold in light and love all those struggling with depression, loneliness, isolation, those beset by disease or failing health, those burdened by addiction and trauma. We also pray for those whose relationships are struggling and those who are struggling to satisfy their material needs. We pray for strength, wisdom, and comfort, peace, and good fortune. We also hold in light and love today Carol Angel, as she recovers after surgery. David Heath, tomorrow he will have heart surgery, including pacemaker installation. From Lori Kigner, my daughter-in-law Lauren's mother, my granddaughter's Nana Robin, died suddenly and unexpectedly on August 23rd. Please hold this deeply grieving family in your hearts. Erica Eistrick, as she sits with her father as he passes. Martin, 1 year AA. Continued healing for our family. Mara Coyle, as she heads back to work after a medical leave. For Carla and John. Jill, my brother who was recently diagnosed with brain cancer, writes one. And my dear friend whose son died. Also prayers for a friend suffering from severe anxiety. And Michelle Shaw has a request for her family member Steve, who unexpectedly passed away on Friday. Keep his family in your thoughts and prayers. And for the support and comfort of Alan Hagstrom, dealing with treatment at St. John's Hospital. And now into this silence, we name out loud those that we hold in our hearts. Knowing that together we can hold all of this. May it be so, and amen.
Twice a month, our offering goes to a local nonprofit, and the other Sundays it stays right here at WBUUC to pay our staff and fund our programs and keep our lights on. You can donate in 3 ways. On the WBUUC website, by dropping a check or cash in the box by the park entrance, or mailing a check, or using the text to give option printed in your order of service or in the chat box. Thank you for your generosity and your faith in this life we lead together.
All my relations, every nation come. All my relations under the sun. We are one. We are praying, come. We are praying, come. We are strong and we are the come. We are one. We are the river, come. We are the river, come. We are the boat of paradise. We are one. We truly sing. We truly sing. We truly water is life for everything. We are the water sing. We are the water sing. We are the water, we are life begins. We are the ancient one. We are the ancient one. We are the breath and bones we sing on. We are one. We are the meadow. We are the meadow. We are the lark that sings a new day has begun. We are the new day, run, run, run. We are the new day, run, run, run. We are the old and we are the young. We are one. We truly sing. We truly sing. We truly water is life for everything. We are the water sing. We are the water sing. We are the water, we are where life begins. We are the earth and sky. Thunder rise. We are the fire. We are the light in your eyes. We are standing strong, like a rock, like a stone, on this sacred ground we belong. We are we truly sing. We truly sing. We truly water for everything. We are the water sing. We are the water sing. We are the water, we are life begins. All my relations come. Every nation come. All my relations under the sun. We
Like all annual rituals, the water communion marks the passage of time. Today, the 21st anniversary of that awful September 11th, 2001, also marks the passage of time. I'm thinking today of the babies who were born shortly after that, babies who never got to meet a loved one who died on that terrifying day. My hunch is that for them and their families, this year of this milestone 21st birthday maybe feels more significant than last year's 20th anniversary. Today, I'm also thinking about the last several water communion services at White Bear UU Church. No one knew all that would unfold in the world and this church during that water communion on September 8th, 2019. A year later, everything was different when you celebrated water communion with only one person in the church building, Reverend Victoria Safford, and everyone else participating virtually. And then a year after that, last year, we celebrated water communion with some of us in the sanctuary mass and more of us still virtual. And of course, no Victoria. And here we are now, some here virtually, some here in the sanctuary, more here unmasked outside in Hallam Park. The ritual we'll do shortly will look more like it looked in 2019, but it'll be different too. The setting, some of the words, the absence of Victoria. So time marches on. Over these 4 years in this church, beloved members have died or left, or their journeys took them elsewhere. Some have left jobs or retired or started new jobs. Babies have been born. People have fallen in love, others out of love. In these ways, same as it ever was. It may have felt in a way like the world stopped in March of 2020, but not really. So what do we do with this onward march of time? The story Nico shared suggests a couple things we can do. One is to pay attention, to notice our journeys, to notice what actually is going on. Sure, it's easier to notice when a lot has changed, but maybe we should always pay attention to where we've been, where we might be headed, and most of all, to this moment. Maybe we need to pay attention even when things feel the same largely as maybe they did for some of you in 2020 at the water, or 2019 at the water communion. The same does not last forever. And second, we could take the gift of time's passage to get a deeper and a wider view of where we've been and what we've done. We could take the gift of time's passage to do some oft-needed reframing. Even when things are tough, even when we struggle, it may be that there were gifts that were hard to see. I wish the pandemic had never happened to our world, to this church, to me. I wish I hadn't lost a beloved friend to COVID. Would have been swell if that virus had somehow petered out quickly like several other pandemic threats over the past 20 or 30 years, but it did not. And even amidst all the suffering and loss and change, there have been some gifts. It doesn't negate our understanding that a lot of people suffered, perhaps ourselves, to look for the gifts in the midst. And so the story that Nico told has one other piece of wisdom that feels important to lift up today. We never travel this path perfectly. The leaky pot did not travel perfectly at all. It felt like it didn't do its job for 2 years, which is a bad feeling. Yet with the water bearer's help, the leaky pot was able to see that the gifts that came anyway, in fact, gifts that actually came because of the imperfections. And of course, the water bearer's seeds. The water bearer helped the leaky pot get a wider and a deeper view of the path that it traveled. This is called perspective. And incidentally, this is part of what happens in a transitional ministry. The congregation gets a wider and a deeper view of the place, of the road it's traveled, as it begins to look ahead to what's next. So may all of you, like the leaky pot, notice the fullness of the journey and recognize all of your journeys are unique. And may you see and understand the truth that you too are the cause of beauty, even possibly in your imperfections themselves. And may these insights help replenish your souls, like water replenishes our bodies. In a moment, we'll have our water communion service ceremony, and everyone is invited to receive a watery blessing from staff or a lay leader of the congregation here and in the sanctuary. The words of blessing will be, "Water is a gift. May you be replenished." If you are here in the park, you are invited to come to one of the stations up here on this long table, or there's a little station right there by the basketball court. If you need the ritual to come to you in your seat, simply wave at me. I'll be by the basketball court and I'll be happy to bring the ritual to your seat. Those in the sanctuary are invited to come forward to the table up front. If you'd like to have drops of water poured on your hands during the blessing, hold them out over the bowl when you come forward. The blesser will ask if you'd like them to hold your hands as they pour the water and say a blessing. And you're welcome to answer that verbally, or to nod, or to shake your head. Those participating virtually are invited to participate by sprinkling water on your own hands, or if you're looking at the service, participating in the service with other people in your space, then you could do this to one another and offer the words, in either case, water is a gift, may you be replenished. And those words will be in the chat. So friends, we'll have plenty of time for this ritual, no need to hurry. And I invite those offering blessing up front now to come forward to your stations, and I will signal to everyone else when it's time for you to come forward as you wish. I got it. Yeah, you do. Water is a gift. May you be replenished. Our closing hymn is number 298. We've got the words printed in the order of service. Wake now, my senses will do all the verses. I invite you to rise in body or in spirit and join together in singing.
senses and feel their call. Feel the deep power of being alone. Sing with the level creation your vow. Giving, receiving, as God shows us how. Wake now, my reason, reach out to you. Join with each pilgrim the quest for the truth. One another beauty and praise.
My closing words today come from Marietta's. Like the cosmic dust following after the great Perseid meteor, we are living remnants of time and all that comes to pass in its wake, briefly shining lights on the way to eternity. We are only visible to the naked eye for an instant. Take this moment to shine like the stardust you are. May the light of our time on earth shine and bless the world and each other. Shine, shine, shine. Go in peace.